Evolution of Hulk. In The Incredible Hulk, 1977, Dr. David Banner is a scientist haunted by guilt after failing to save his wife in a car crash. Obsessed with why some people show superhuman strength in crisis, he discovers a link to gamma radiation and experiments on himself. A miscalculation causes him to absorb a massive dose. That night, triggered by stress and injury, he transforms for the first time into the Hulk, a silent green-skinned creature of uncontrollable rage and power. Each time Banner is angry or in danger, the Hulk emerges driven by instinct. After a lab accident kills a colleague, Banner is blamed and becomes a fugitive. Now on the run, he searches for a cure while hiding his identity, moving from town to town. His journey is tragic and psychological, with the Hulk representing repressed trauma and sorrow. In The Incredible Hulk Returns, David Banner has managed to suppress his inner monster for over 7 years, living a quiet life as a scientist working on a machine that could cure him of his Hulk transformations. His peace is shattered when Donald Blake, a former student, arrives with a supernatural problem of his own. He can summon Thor. When Blake calls forth Thor to prove his story, the Thor's aggressive presence triggers David's transformation into the Hulk for the first time in years. The resulting clash between Thor and the Hulk destroys David's lab and the cure he was close to completing. With the Hulk now resurfaced, David finds himself once again drawn into conflict, this time with criminals attempting to steal his work. Each stressful encounter threatens to unleash the Hulk again. What began as a hopeful chapter in David's life ends with him back on the run, resigned to the reality that the creature within him is not so easily tamed or cured. In Hulk 2003, Bruce Banner's transformation is rooted in generational trauma and genetic experimentation. Altered before birth by his father David's self-testing, Bruce carries a dormant mutation activated years later by a lab accident involving gamma radiation. Initially unaware of the changes, Bruce's transformations into the Hulk erupt under emotional stress, revealing a creature born of buried pain and rage. As military threats escalate and his father resurfaces with dangerous intentions, Bruce's inner conflict deepens. The Hulk emerges to protect Betty and face growing dangers, battling monstrous dogs, tanks, and aircraft. In a final confrontation, Bruce fights his mutated father, who absorbs energy in a symbolic clash of identity and legacy. Bruce vanishes afterward, presumed dead, but is later seen in the jungle helping others. Now, with more control, he embraces the Hulk as part of him, a powerful, volatile force he can no longer deny, but may finally be learning to guide. In The Incredible Hulk 2008, Bruce Banner's transformation begins with a failed super soldier experiment that exposes him to gamma radiation, unleashing the Hulk, his monstrous alter ego triggered by anger. After injuring his lover, Betty Ross, and becoming a fugitive pursued by General Ross, Bruce hides in Brazil, training in meditation to control his emotions. But when the military tracks him down, the Hulk reemerges in a brutal confrontation. Returning to the United States, Bruce reconnects with Betty and resists further transformations, but a military ambush forces the Hulk to surface again, defeating an enhanced Emil Blonsky. An attempted cure offers temporary relief, but Blonsky mutates into the Abomination, prompting Bruce to willingly transform to stop him. The Hulk defeats Abomination and, in a moment of restraint, spares his life. In the end, Bruce stops running and begins to master the Hulk, choosing purpose over fear. Bruce Banner is recruited by S.H.I.E.L.D. to help locate the Tesseract, working alongside Tony Stark. He struggles to remain calm on the helicarrier as tensions rise among the Avengers. When the helicarrier is attacked and chaos erupts, Banner is injured and involuntarily transforms into the Hulk, going on a rampage that nearly kills Black Widow and forces Thor into battle with him. After crashing through the ship, the Hulk lands far away and reverts to Banner. Later, during the Battle of New York, Banner willingly transforms for the first time on command, telling Rogers, "I'm always angry," before becoming the Hulk and smashing a massive alien creature. He fights fiercely, notably humiliating Loki, and ultimately saves Tony Stark by catching him mid-fall. By the film's end, Banner has found a degree of control, using his powers in unison with the Avengers to help save the world. In Avengers Age of Ultron, Bruce Banner aids Tony Stark in creating Ultron, an AI meant to safeguard Earth. However, Ultron turns against humanity, seeking its extinction. When the Avengers confront Ultron in South Africa, Wanda Maximoff manipulates Banner's mind, triggering his transformation into the Hulk. Blinded by rage, the Hulk rampages through Johannesburg, endangering civilians. Stark deploys the Hulkbuster armor in a destructive battle to subdue him, leaving Banner guilt-ridden. The team hides at Hawkeye's farm, where Bruce considers fleeing with Natasha Romanoff. In Sokovia, Natasha awakens the Hulk for the final battle. After defeating Ultron's army and ensuring civilian evacuation, the Hulk escapes alone in a Quinjet, cutting off communication with Natasha. His quiet departure marks a turning point in his arc, choosing exile over risking harm to others, torn between the monster within and the man he strives to be. After being missing since Avengers Age of Ultron, Hulk reappears on the planet Sakaar, where he has been the Grandmaster's champion for 2 years. Unlike previous films, he maintains his Hulk form for the entire time, developing a more articulate speech and distinct personality. When Thor arrives as a fellow gladiator, he's shocked to discover Hulk is the champion. Thor tries to reason with him, even using Black Widow's calming technique, but Hulk fights fiercely. Despite Thor nearly winning after unlocking his lightning powers, the Grandmaster rigs the match in Hulk's favor. Later, Hulk reveals he doesn't want to return to Earth, fearing he's only valued as a weapon. However, after seeing Natasha's recording on the Quinjet, Hulk reverts to Bruce Banner for the first time in years. Banner fears transforming back, believing he may lose control permanently. But in the final battle, he chooses to become Hulk again to fight the monstrous Fenris and save the Asgardians, showing growth, courage, and loyalty. At the beginning of Infinity War, Hulk fights Thanos aboard the Asgardian refugee ship. Initially landing a few blows, Hulk is quickly overpowered. This crushing defeat is pivotal. It shatters Hulk's confidence. Heimdall uses the Bifrost to send Hulk to Earth, where he crashes into the Sanctum Sanctorum and transforms back into Bruce Banner. Unlike previous films, Banner struggles to summon Hulk again. Despite multiple life-threatening situations, Hulk refuses to emerge, leaving Banner frustrated and powerless. This internal conflict plays out as Banner tries to contribute by donning the Hulkbuster armor during the battle in Wakanda. He fights bravely but is clearly outmatched without Hulk's strength. Hulk's refusal to surface symbolizes an identity crisis. After years of dominance, Hulk now hides in fear. This sets the stage for Endgame, where Banner must reconcile both sides of himself to become whole again. In Avengers Endgame, 2019, Hulk's transformation journey reaches a unique resolution. After years of inner conflict, Bruce Banner merges his intellect with the Hulk's strength, becoming Smart Hulk, calm, articulate, and in full control. This evolution is revealed 5 years after the snap, showing a confident, balanced hero who embraces his dual identity. He aids in planning the time heist and travels to 2012 to retrieve the Time Stone, proving his strategic value. His most heroic moment comes when he uses the Nano Gauntlet to reverse the snap. Knowing the gamma radiation could kill him, he still proceeds, surviving but severely injured. This act marks the culmination of his arc, from a destructive force feared even by allies to a selfless hero who saves the universe, not by brute strength alone, but by acceptance, intellect, and sacrifice. In She-Hulk Attorney at Law, 2022, Bruce Banner appears as Smart Hulk, a version of himself that balances his intellect with Hulk's strength after years of painful self-discovery. When a car crash causes his blood to mix with cousin Jennifer Walters, she becomes She-Hulk. Emil Blonsky, once the monstrous abomination, also returns, now seemingly reformed, able to shift forms at will and running a spiritual retreat. His arc reflects redemption, though his true motives remain unclear. Meanwhile, Todd Phelps, a wealthy tech mogul, illegally injects himself with Jen's stolen blood, briefly transforming into a twisted Hulk-like creature before being stopped. These transformations reflect how gamma exposure amplifies what's inside each person, whether it's control, chaos, or ego, and how not all Hulk journeys are the same. After becoming United States President, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross secretly battles a failing heart and takes gamma-laced pills developed by imprisoned scientist Samuel Stearns. As tensions rise over adamantium and Stearns launches a mind control attack, Ross's body begins to break down. During a press conference overwhelmed by stress and rage, Ross transforms into the Red Hulk, a massive red-skinned creature fueled not by heroism like Bruce Banner, but by pride, fear, and desperation. He rampages through the White House until Sam Wilson appeals to his humanity, invoking memories of his daughter Betty. This emotional moment brings Ross back to himself. Realizing what he's become, Ross resigns the presidency and surrenders to imprisonment at the raft. His journey from hardened general to unstable superbeing marks a fall shaped by control, guilt, and unchecked ambition, a stark contrast to the other Hulk transformations driven by trauma or redemption.